All right, so here we are again. We're talking about notes and note names and how they relate to positions on the fretboard. So in the last lesson, we learned a rule that helps us understand a little bit about naming notes. It provides a slow, painstaking way for us to figure out where we are on the fretboard. And it becomes useful once we know what the names of the open strings are, because we have to have a starting point. We have to have a launching point to use our rule. So quite simply, there's 6 strings. So from top to bottom, the top string is E, then A, then D, then G, then B, and then E. E, A, D, G, B, E. So each one of these open strings corresponds to one of these note names. We could just memorize, if you're a memorizer, E, A, D, G, B, E, E, A, D, G, B, E, repeat it or use whatever trick you want. Also, you could use a little trick where you say a phrase and the first letter of every word in the phrase is one of the strings. So here's one that I learned many years ago. It goes like this. Every acid dealer gets busted eventually. Every acid dealer gets busted eventually. And of course, the first letter in each of those words is E, A, D, G, B, E. If you don't like that one, here's another one that one of my students taught me recently. It goes like this. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. That might be more appropriate. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. And again, the first letter of each of these words is just the names of our strings, our open strings. E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, let's use one of these strings as a launching point to apply the rule that we learned in the last lesson, which is there's no sharp between B and C or E and F. No sharp between B and C or E and F. So let's start with the 5th string. We could just know that it's an A, or we could use one of our little sayings, but figure out that this is an A, so the open string is an A, and then start to use our rule. The next note above an A is an A sharp. So the letter after A in the alphabet is B, so the next note must be B. And then our rule is there's no sharp between B and C, so the next note is a C. And then the note above a C is a sharp C, or a C sharp. And then again, the next letter in the alphabet is D, so the next note is going to be, of course, D, followed by a D sharp. The next letter in the alphabet is E, so there's our E. Then here's our rule again. There's no sharp between E and F, so the next note is F. And of course, F sharp. And the next letter in the alphabet is G. So that means this is a G. And the following note is a raised G, so it's named G sharp. And then we're back to A. And look, we're on the 12th fret. So over the course of these couple of lessons, we're learning too that the note name for the open string is also the note name for the 12th fret. So the open strings are the same as the 12th fret as far as their name goes. All right, let's do this one more time. We should be getting the hang of it by now. Let's pick another one of these open strings as a launching point. Let's use this 2nd string right here. So let's see. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. All right, so that means this string goes with the word by. So this is a B string. So my open string is a B. So right away, my rule is there's no sharp between B and C, so the first fret here is a C. The next note is a raised C, so it's C sharp. The next letter in the alphabet is D, so here's a D. Then a raised D, so here's D sharp. The next letter in the alphabet is E, and then we're back to our rule. So the next note must be an F. There's no sharp between E and F. Following that is an F sharp. The next letter in the alphabet is G, so here's G. Then a G sharp. And then the next letter in the musical alphabet, because we just go back to the beginning, is an A, so here's A. Followed by a raised A sharp. followed by the next letter in the alphabet, which is B. And then we're back to the string that we started on, or the 12th fret, or the note that we started on. So once again, we've come full circle. The open string is the same as the 12th fret, and this rule, this way that we name notes, just repeats itself across the fretboard over and over again. Okay, so in the next lesson, let's talk about flats and figure out how to use those, and then we'll move on to something new.